All right, girls, guys, and gemstones. What we have here today is human design. Human design can be explained in a multitude of ways. So, what is human design? Human design is your energetic blueprints that allows you to see who you are in life. It reminds you of who you are. If you see your energetic blueprints, it's this like getting the user manual for a product that you have not yet learned how to use. So this is your user manual of life. This is your personal energetic blueprints. And what's beautiful about having this is that it allows you to understand how your particular energy says yes and no, because everybody's different. It may seem like it appears similar, but everybody's different, and how everybody says their yes and no is different for their unique energy. So, in my opinion, this is the most important part of what human design is understanding how you say your yes and no flat out. There's so much we could talk about regarding human design. We could literally talk for 3 weeks straight nonstop about one person, about everything them. But the most important thing about human design truly is understanding how to use your strategy and inner authority, because that's how you say your yes and no. Up in the top of the corner of the chart, we can see type, strategy, and inner authority. But yeah, strategy and inner authority, it doesn't matter who I'm talking to, whether it's you, damn dog stuff, it's my, or anybody in chat, or anybody watching reruns. How you say your yes and no, how your body, how your energy functions, lies in your strategy and your authority. So your yes and no, how you say it. Now, why would we want to understand how we say our yes and no? I mean, it's quite awesome to understand how you would say your yes and no for you, but like, why would we want to know that anyway? Well, we would want to say our yes and no for us, because then we'll be making correct decisions for us. You're like, well, that's quite obvious, you derphead. I know. But if you're making correct decisions for you, then you're automatically allowing your purpose to flow through you without getting your brain involved. So, we all wake up every day and we're like, oh, what should I do today? No, it's like, what does your energy feel like it can do today instead? What is your energy saying? What do you have the energy for today? Now, let's set that aside. Let's explain it a whole different way. We're born, and we're born into a race, a gender, a society. Maybe we're born into a religion. And we are conditioned into those things. So, if you're a boy, you like blue. If you're a girl, you like pink. We all call BS on that, but that's what I'm talking about, these conditioning factors of what it is to be you, where you're from, where you're raised. So you're raised. You have authoritative figures that raised you, and they expected certain behavior from you. You go to some type of education, and your educators expect your tiny little body to sit still and educate, and then go through all school. So, as you're born, you're automatically changed and conditioned by the things that are external to you. People, places, things, and experiences change you, but it's pretty much growing up and having these societal expectations, and then we graduate, and then we get a job, we move out, and we're like, yeah, we're free. Are we though? Are we really? Because we have the TOS of life. We have to follow laws to be a generically okay person. When we work, our bosses expect us to act a certain way, and our customers expect us to act a certain way too. For example, I'm my own boss, but I expect myself to act a certain way when I present myself. You as viewers expect me to act a certain way too. And, I have to change my attitude a little bit, because there are some things that would be against TOS for me to say live. So, you know what? I change myself because I have to. So these are just examples of like just small little things that happen, you know, over life, changing us. You know, so this is really reminding us of who we are to the core. Who are we? Getting back to us before we were changed by society, before we were forced to think that this is what we have to like, this is a job that we have to do, this is the thing that we have to think about, this is how we have to progress, this is what we have to control, blah, blah, blah. So, no. Human design is taking away all of those things that we were raised with and just reminding you of who you are, so you can choose with your own energy if that is something that you still want in your life or not, so that you can be more in line with your purpose. So, you know, here's another example. Sometimes we choose to change ourselves. You know, I remember in grade 8, I humiliated myself because of me speaking, and I was like, I vowed to never speak again unless I know fact. So that was me purposely changing myself because I was humiliated. I didn't want to be humiliated again. So I purposely changed myself so that I wouldn't be humiliated. I became rigid, right? So I chose to change. Or, you know, over in the ASMR section, it was a very, you know, shiny and frilly thing to start to want to do the ear licking. And that could have made people some money very quickly. Oh, where was I going with that? But I just resonated that I didn't want to do it just because everybody else wanted to do it. You know, it didn't mean that I had to do it. It was nice, shiny, and frilly, but, you know, it wasn't really meant for me. So, this is where I stood. So, you know, I didn't change myself to get a quick dollar. I'm not saying that that was bad for people to do. Maybe it was correct for them, or maybe it wasn't. So we choose to change ourselves sometimes because we're like, oh, well, that person over there is doing it better, so I'm going to change myself so maybe I can have the success that they're seeing. But what's really important to know is that we need you as you in this life, because that's what's going to bring, you know, the success to this world and bring some more sense of an ease or more sense of chill or calmness in your life. Now, just because you follow your design, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're impervious to the bad things in life. Everybody has to experience the ups and downs in life, but at least you now have the tools on how to maneuver through the possible downs so that it's not such an overwhelming experience. So yeah, human design, long story short, it reminds you of who you are so that you don't have to make decisions based on your mind, and your energy tells you what you have, your aura tells you what you have energy for. Like, what is your energy doing? And then that was really, really too much. If you make correct decisions for self, you allow your purpose to flow through you without getting your brain involved. There we go. That's a much easier way to say it. Okay. So we have dmdoxton up on the screen first. This is who we are going to be talking about for the next 30 minutes, at least. So we have dmdoxton. I want to tell you that this is going to be separated by two different experiences. We're going to separate this experience by things you have to know, and then things that you are going to consider brain candy. Welcome in. Welcome in. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about right now for this human design experience is the things that you need to know. dmdoxton. Okay. Now, you know how in astrology we have words like Gemini, Capricorn, Leo, etc.? Well, we have some defining terms over in the human design system as well. If you look at the top of the screen over to the right, we can see that your type is the manifesting generator. Now, I don't know a thing about astrology, and for someone who does know something about astrology, when they say the word like Gemini or Capricorn, that means something more than just a word to them. Like for me, I don't even know the assigned months. I only know mine. I don't even know all of them that exist. And the only reason I know that mine exists is because it's my month. So yeah, I don't even know the underlying meaning of it. And that's the thing, is that a person who doesn't know anything about astrology knows that there's something that goes with the terminology or phrasing, Capricorn. And that's the same thing here. In human design, your type, your manifesting generator title, it really encapsulates so much knowledge or like information about who you are. So I just want you to hear this word, docs, that you are a manifesting generator. On the intellectual level, when we're first entering into this experience, we're not supposed to understand it. We're not supposed to understand at the deeper level, what is a manifesting generator? So don't worry about it. I just want you to just understand that this is something that exists. It is your aura, how your aura functions in the world. And it really just hits you at the DNA level. So that's why I want you to hear it. So I wanted to start with that. And now we are officially entering into everything that you have to know regarding your chart. And then part 2, once again, is playtime. So part 1 is, what do you have to know about your energy? Well, the most important thing that we said was that you have to understand your yes and no. How does your energy work? How do you say your uh-huh or uh-uh? How does that function for you? So we're going to run over that. So I need to tell you that understanding how you docs, how you say your yes and no, it actually functions in a way that it's a 2-part experience. So let's talk about strategy. We said that strategy and authority, we can see those words up at the top right-hand corner of the screen. Strategy and authority, we already said that this is how you say your yes and no, and it's just a bunch of jargon around it. So that's what we're going to be moving through. So your manifesting generator aura does stuff, and it's allowing this beautiful gift to be given to you. So docs, you are here to wait to respond. That is part 1 of your yes and no. And part 2 is your inner authority, which is emotional solar plexus. Now, I just want to get them out of the way because I saw it said that there's 2 parts for you to say your yes and no. And we have this elephant in the room. Inner authority, it says emotional. Actually, I would say that you're not an emotional person at all. Well, you have your emotions, but you have a very fixed way of expressing them. I'm not saying that you're up and down like this all the time. No, that's not what it means. So I just wanted to address the elephant in the room and just move over it. That's not what we're talking about here. I'm looking at my screen over here. So, waiting to respond. Why would you even wait to make a decision? Well, waiting allows the normal behavior to be interrupted. I'm not saying to stop life. I'm not saying to disengage with life. Maybe you go out for a walk and you get super excited and you want to commit to that $10,000 thing that you just saw. Well, maybe you should wait instead of jumping right on to the normal behavior that you might do. So that's what we're talking about, waiting to respond. Welcome. So when we're saying waiting, we're just interrupting the normal conditioned behavior that we would normally act on. So when you're making decisions, you just need to wait. Yep, that's it. Well, how long do you wait? Well, we're going to get into that. So this is for making like big decisions in life. Person, places, things, or experiences that are going to affect you in the long run. I mean, for me, I do it for every decision. But if you're just first starting out and experimenting. So responding. Now, I'm just going through my schooling in my head, the new stuff that I just learned. So you just give me a second. I'm actually trying to revert back down to like super easy knowledge. Okay, so when you're here to respond, you're waiting to see what your energy has to do. So you are given this beautiful mechanism to give you clarity. I'm saying this completely backwards. Give me a second. I don't know why I'm bumbling about so much. I think it's because I've started this new course and it's really changed the way I say things. So you are here to respond. You have this guttural response, uh-huh or uh-uh. It might feel like a contraction going from your navel up to your chest, or maybe you sound like a baby. When a baby likes something, it's like, ooh. And when a baby doesn't like something, eh. I'll say more about that later, Serpent. So you have been given these beautiful guttural sounds. Your aura knows what's correct for you, uh-huh or uh-uh. But the thing is that whenever you have a response, remember, we have to wait when we've had that response to see what our energy is doing, uh-huh or uh-uh. What did you respond? If it's uh-huh, then do it. If it's uh-uh, then don't do it. And if the answer is, well, or then you just don't know. Maybe the person asked you the question the wrong way. But you are really here to listen to that gut. But you're not here to act on it right away. You are a person that has this two-part process. So you're here to respond uh-huh or uh-uh to life. Let's give an example of what responding means. Well, to me, I feel like life is a response. Generic tasks in life that don't need time. So your eyes pop open in the morning after you have been done rested. Why did your eyes pop open? Did the doggo next door wake you up because of the barking? Did you respond to being fully rested? Is your bladder bursting at the seam when you can't hold it anymore? Why did your eyes pop open? What did you respond to? And then next, what do you respond to doing next? Why did your eyes pop open? Well, you actually had your eyes pop open because your bladder was full. It's about to burst. So you respond to flicking off the blankets, and then you respond to going to the washroom. But you're like, oh, I got a little bit of a tickle on my back end too, so I'm going to be in the bathroom for a while. I respond to taking my phone for entertainment while I sit on the toilet. Oh, as I'm walking through the house, I actually respond to being a little bit chilly, so I walk to go get my hoodie before I sit on the toilet because I know I'm going to be there a while. So as you see, it's like it's a moment by moment expression of responding What do you respond to doing next? What's next? What's next? What's next? It's not about like, oh, I opened my mind. I opened my mind. I opened my eyes. I guess we could say my mind just starts running. What should I do with my energy today? No. No, you're responding to life. So when we're talking about a response, it doesn't necessarily have to be like this internal, it actually isn't this internal mechanism. Like me asking myself a question from my head to myself that way. No, it doesn't work. That's not me having something to respond to. That's just me overthinking and my monkey brain getting involved. So, a response is like, yeah, you have to go pee or you're hungry. Yeah, like these generic survival traits. But like typically everything else is external. So maybe a cat knocks something over, so you respond to cleaning up whatever mess it was. Maybe somebody physically asked you to go to the store. Maybe um, maybe you got a letter in the mail and you responded to just throwing it out. I don't know. What do you respond to doing? So it can be a variety of things. What do you respond to doing in that moment with that particular experience? So the thing is that that's what a response is. You have this uh-huh or uh-uh, or like this contraction moving up and down, or like these baby guttural sounds that you have. Now, some people are actually deconditioned away from these sounds because for me, when I grew up, I was told to say yes and no. Don't say yeah, don't say uh-huh. That's incorrect. Nah, nah, nah. Let's decondition you away from your true knowledge of who you are. So people like myself were given slaps on the hand for using their proper energy. So because of society, people are conditioned away, and so some people may not even recognize how to say their uh-huh or uh-uh. So if you're having trouble recognizing how to say your uh-huh or uh-uh, well, I mean, you know you love pancakes. Hey, Docs, do you want some pancakes right now? Uh-huh. Right? So you understand what it feels like, uh-huh, for those pancakes. What does it feel like for the no for you? So maybe you can get somebody externally to you to ask you questions to see what a no feels like. So remember, it's never a question asking yourself down to into your head. You always have to like, okay, here's another example. I'm a psychic streamer, and as a psychic streamer, there's like thousands of modalities that exist. And then there's 1,000 gemstones, and then there's like 1,000 tarot decks and oracle cards. There's so many shiny, frilly things. And when you go into a new streamer's experience, like, oh my God, I want that thing. So, I responded to wanting that thing. Just because I want it, it doesn't necessarily mean that I either need to do it or purchase it immediately. So I just let it settle. Remember, I'm waiting to respond. We did. Waiting to respond. And now what do you do with that? What do you do with that? Okay, well, for a person like me, who doesn't have a lot of people around me on a regular basis to ask me questions, all of the things that I'm like, ooh, that's shiny, that's really, I actually write it down in the list. And just because I once like was ooh and ah to it before, doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to get done or it's going to get purchased. So, for example, I do want to make a gemstone representation oracle deck of my experiences of what I do. But that idea came 5 years ago. I am so happy that I haven't acted on it yet because there hasn't been energy, there hasn't been time, there isn't the proper knowledge to put it out. So like I'm just really happy that it hasn't happened yet. I'm glad I didn't force it out into the universe. It would have been done in a terrible way. So just because I want to do it, it doesn't mean that it has to be done now. So another example is when I first started my streaming career or like my psychic career, I was putting out things what I thought people wanted from me. And come to find out that wasn't. That's not what my energy wanted to do. It's what my brain thought that people wanted. Where was I going with this? So I had like this psychic package, everything psychic, and I wanted to sell it. And the thing is that it was so frilly and fun when I thought about doing it. But literally, it made its way from the fun pile down to the garbage pile because it's not for me. It was just what I thought people wanted from me instead of doing what I love doing. So I responded, I don't want to do that anymore. So, and that was over like 2 years or 3 years of just staring at that course and eventually made it to the no pile. It's not who I am. It's not what I want to do. So these are a bunch of examples of response. Just because you responded immediately, it doesn't mean that you need to act on it immediately. Now, you are a person who is designed to be efficient and productive about the work you do when you eventually do get clarity about what you're meant to do. So, let's go on to part 2. Of learning what your inner authority is, your emotional solar plexus. If you actually go over to the right of the chart, you can see that brown center. To thine own self be true. So the thing is that now that we've interrupted the conditioning as to what we would normally do or act on, what do we do with it then? Well, for you, like I said, you have this 2-part process of where you've responded. Now it's time to get clarity on what you've responded to. So for me, it takes me about 10 minutes to describe what this is because I don't have this defined myself. So I have to pretty much give you a textbook definition or give you examples based on what other people told me. So when you have this defined, what it feels like is that you are a person who, if you ever are 70% clear, maybe that's a good time to make a decision because 100% clear, I don't believe it'll ever happen. So if you're 70% clear, congratulations. Now, the reason why you are a person who needs to wait to get clarity is because that's what emotional solar plexus mean. You need to wait to get clarity. That's what it means. So waiting to get clarity. So let me describe it a different way. Maybe you're super excited and you want to commit immediately. So you jump in on the emotional high. Well, once you commit and you walk away from the person, you're like, oh, frig, why did I even commit to that? I wouldn't have wanted to commit to that. God, if I would have thought about it for a minute. So what it's saying is that, like, we do that too when we're super upset. We jump out of things or we quit things or push things aside when we're super upset emotionally. And then we may regret it later, like ripping up pictures or like throwing something into a fire or like just breaking something, yada, yada. As clear examples. So emotional solar plexus is about getting clarity about your emotions before you jump into something. So you're not on that emotional high, you're not on that emotional low. You kind of like gone through that emotional wave a little bit. So you're kind of neutral. So the goal is to kind of be like emotionally neutral towards your decision, from what I understand. Or like that clarity will be at 70% with where your emotions are standing at. So let's describe it a different way. Let's just say you're a surfer. You go on the up wave and you're down wave. Well, you bottom out into the ocean. I bet you wouldn't have wanted to go into that surfing wave if you would have known that you would have crashed out if it would have hit the bottom. So, it's going through and perceiving what could have been that wave before you even jump into it. So an example is like you and your buddy decide that you want to move away together and you're like, just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. And then like 3 weeks later, your buddy's like, yeah, I don't want to move. Imagine if you would have jumped on that experience already. You would have bought your tickets. You would have started packing. You would have quit your job. You would have blah, blah, blah. And all that time, your friend didn't even want to go anyway or ended up like backing out on you. That it's like, So, Another way to describe this is the only way that I can really describe this anymore is that maybe you have 18 doors to go through, dmdox. Maybe door number 7 is the most clear. It's suggesting that that is the one that you go through. So you have a decision to make, and I like to over exaggerate this particular example because, yes, if you have your solar plexus defined, which is half of the world, you have this juicy energy that people like me that don't have it, they want it. It's juicy. It's yummy. It's like chef's kiss. So if somebody's offering you something, it's because they recognize your awesomeness and they want your energy. So if you say, whoa, 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 wait, they're going to try to like spicing up the deal and try to be like, oh my God, how can we get this person? I can't believe that they're saying wait. So here's the example that I want to give you. You are a person who has been applying to the job of a lifetime and they actually offer it to you. Of course, you're super excited and you want to immediately jump on that opportunity, but I just told you that we need to wait to respond, to break up the natural conditioning of jumping into things when we're extremely excited. So I just told you that jumping into an experience when you're extremely excited isn't necessarily the greatest time to jump into something. So you'd be like, yo, HR people who just offered me this employment, can you give me the weekend to think about that and I'll let you know on Monday? Now, here's the thing. As you do that, you are getting clarity for yourself. And there could be a lot of different things going on. You're like, shit, dude, that could crumble if I don't give them an answer immediately. Okay. Well, there's only 2 things that can happen. The opportunity does crumble beneath you, or you make your decision. So what if the opportunity crumbles beneath you, your job of a lifetime? Listen, if your job of a lifetime decided that they wanted to kick you out of the door before you were even hired, why would you even want to be in that position? Like, hey, we're going to offer you a job, but you're going to get booted out before you're even hired. Imagine if you would have jumped on that opportunity and they would have been like, and you would have given your 2 weeks notice at your other job. And then you would have already packed your boxes up at your other job and like said your farewells. And then on Monday they say, oh, sorry, even though we offered you the job, we didn't really, no, sorry, the position's no longer open. So, what if the job did crumble beneath? It's actually doing you a favor. So what if, while you're trying to get your clarity, now you have to be reasonable with timing. You can't be like, yo, give me 3 months to get back to you on that job. No, but there's some things in life where you do require clarity. It's that long. So a week, a month, a year, 5 years, 10 years, sometimes it does require that time to get that clarity, and that's okay. What if you decide to give the person a weekend, you got clarity and you decided, yes, this is still a job for me, then cool. But really though, like, I know a lot of people are afraid of saying wait because the opportunity is in front of me right now. But that's the thing, is that if it's correct for you, it will stay for you. And if it's not correct for you, the opportunity will crumble. And you can be thankful that it did crumble, because you probably would have been emotionally or materialistically invested in some form, and it would have been disappointing or frustrating in some way. Okay, so let's review that together. You are a person who is here to respond to life and then get some clarity on the things that you respond to. So, hey, do you want to go to Disneyland? There's something that immediately came to my mind, is that you and I had a conversation and it was talking about what you wanted to do in life. And I believe that you have gotten a lot of clarity over life. You're like, I really, really want to do that thing. That one thing. So you have gained that clarity. You have. You know what you want to do. You know what your energy wants to do. And that's why I asked you, should you do it? And you said, well, my brain, my monkey mind says that I'm too old and I can't be happy for the rest of my life. That's what my monkey mind said. So, but what is your energy saying? So, you're here to respond to life. Apparently you responded to me. Oh, I like this basic bee in front of me. And over time, you still got clarity that, yeah, you still do enjoy hanging out here. And over time, you got clarity, oh, I respond to this human design thing. And I got clarity that, yeah, I'm actually going to get one of these readings. So maybe you're a person who has realized over time that you're not a spontaneous person. This is something that you need to know about yourself. You are not a spontaneous person. If you go over to this white triangle here at the spleen, that is your intuitive access to your intuitive knowing and health in the moment. And you don't have direct access to that, nor do you have consistent energy for that. So what you believe might be spontaneously correct for you, make sure that you really, really, really got clarity when you're pretending to be spontaneous or risky. You are a person who's meant to wait and get clarity before you just jump into things. But the thing is, and I've already said it before, is that you're a person who, once you do something, you made me say do. Once you do something, then you're probably going to do it quick and efficiently. And on your own timing. And I bet you feel that. So, okay. Let's try to summarize part number 1. What do you need to know about your energy while you are manifesting generators? So you have this open and enveloping aura. So that means that you are here designed to work, and you are here to be efficient and productive about your work. And if you do use your energy correctly, you can have this sense of satisfaction. But when you use it incorrectly, when you're using your energy incorrectly, you can see frustration in your life. So I'm going to ask you, DM Docs, where are you frustrated in life? This is where a person can start looking at all of the places or things that could possibly change. I'm not saying quit. I'm not saying start. I'm just saying change. What clarity can you get on those things that you're frustrated about? How could they change when you meet them? So you're a person who is designed to be frustrated when things are not in alignment with you. So I'm going to ask you again, where are you frustrated in life? So you are a person who is designed to wait to respond to life, because life is like a magnet. Life is being pulled towards you. So people, places, things, and experiences are being pulled towards you, DM. And at that point, that is when you need to say your or and then get clarity over what it is that you want to do. Just because these opportunities are being presented to you in your life, it doesn't mean that you need to attach to them. And just because you're great at something, it doesn't actually mean you need to do it. Like, for example, people love when I do my healing stuff, but I don't like when I do my healing stuff, so I don't do it. So you are here to gain clarity about what you need to do. So you need to wait to get clarity. I've been told you need to wait at least a night's rest to gain that clarity on the decisions that you need to make. So Docs, you're a person that is designed to say and or have those baby guttural sounds that really allow you to understand what's correct for you. And if you don't feel like you have an attachment to those guttural sounds, please play with it. Find someone who you feel is a confidant and have them ask you questions so you can start playing with things that you know that you don't like and things that you know are easy yeses to you, so you can understand what that and feels like to you. All right. So, one last thing I need to tell you is that responding doesn't mean, hi, my name is dmdoxton, I'm going to ask myself a question internally to see how I respond to it. No, that's not how it works. The only way this functions for you is if you got to pee. Do you respond that your bladder's going to burst? That's the only internal functions that you got going on there. So, you know, your brain is an outer authority for others. Your brain is a beautiful thing for other people. I'm not saying it's useless for you, but it's not made for overthinking about what you're going to be doing next. You're here to have things pulled towards you in life and then choose if you want to do it or not. Once again, I'm not saying to disengage in life. Go out, take walks, go out and do things just to see if your energy likes it. And then you can respond if that's what you want to do or not at that point. You don't just sit on your booty all day. You need to go out. Because there is life that you respond to. Oh, that flower on the TV looks so nice. I want to get outside, you know? Okay, so now we're moving into part 2 of this experience. Part 2 of this experience is knowing more brain candy about your chart. So now we're actually going to separate from here. The reason why I separate this is because you can literally close your ears off right now and it doesn't matter if you hear any of the rest of this information. Human design is all about understanding how you say your yes and no. Everything else is just brain candy and fun. So I am going to run over the remainder of the words that are on the very far right. We're going to talk about the single definition. I gotta let my cat out, so hold on. So, brain candy. What I'm going to run over is all these words on the very far right. And I want to tell you all again that it can take, like, I'm telling you, days upon days upon days of nonstop talking to describe this person. So what we're going to be saying here is such surface level stuff that we could... It goes so deep. Okay. Now, when we first started this whole experience, I said that if you follow your yes and no, then you allow your purpose to flow through you without getting your brain involved. Well, your incarnation cross is your purpose in life. So your incarnation cross is your purpose. Now, regarding your incarnation cross, remember, once again, if you just allow your energy to do what it's meant to do, your purpose is going to automatically flow through you without getting your brain involved. What should I be doing with my energy? What should I be doing next? What should I be, etc. So, if you allow your energy to flow through you correctly, your incarnation will flow through you. Your incarnation cross, your purpose in life is just going to flow through you. And then if you're doing the opposite of what your energy is telling you to do, then we see frustration. So if you listen to your energy, you allow your purpose to flow through you. But if you don't listen to your energy, there's frustration. Or if you're trying to force your energy thinking about what you should be doing. Wow. Those are two different spectrums. Allow my energy to flow and allows my purpose to flow through me. Or if I try to force life, frustration is going to be seen. Wow, that's quite the difference. So, I'm not going to be running through the incarnation cross because that's an actual 2.5 hour reading itself. But just to let you know that incarnation cross does exist, your purpose. And if you do want to Google it, you're more than welcome to Google it. Don't bother me, but I just want to tell you how you should Google it. If you're going to Google this, type in the first two words here and all the numbers here. So you could see left angle, right angle, or juxtaposition. and you're going to see a bunch of letter or numbers at the end. Make sure you're Googling the whole sentence. Otherwise, it's just not going to make sense. But that actually leads me to my next thing. Your incarnation cross and your profile. You're not going to resonate with it. I didn't. Why? It's because we're all so far away from who we are as a person that, you just have to start making decisions based on who you are, and then your profile and your incarnation cross are naturally going to emerge. So I did not resonate with my profile or my incarnation cross for years because I was still living the life of what other people expected me to do. But I'm still going to talk about your profile a little bit either way so that you can see what your behavioral costume is in life. So I'm not going to talk about incarnation cross, but you can Google it. And remember, frustration comes up when you're not living your true self. And what you have to do is just go back to your and see what you get clarity for based on what you need clarity on to allow to see what you can do about that frustration so you can allow your purpose to flow through you. Now, you are a person who does have a single definition. There's nothing that I want to say about that other than the fact that you feel most of your pressure in the centers. So let's start running over some of the extra brain candy based on the open centers. What are your open centers doing? While the open centers are the undefined centers, this is kind of like where we take in life and we can be like distorted. So these are just places where we have a chance to become distorted in life. And this is like, we still have a chance to become distorted here, but like it's more of a fixed experience. So there's a less chance of us becoming distorted in these ones. So this is what we send out into the world, and this is kind of what we receive. So if you're in your not self, so if you're making decisions based on who you're not, dmdox, then you can see I'm actually just going to run center by center. They're actually all big doozies for sure. So this one here is your spleen, and it tells you what's healthy for you or not. People, place, things, or experiences. So since you don't have consistent access to that energy in your not self experience, you may be holding on to things that are no longer healthy for you. People, places, things, or experiences, or you might actually throw away things that are healthy for you. So support systems. So in order to know what's correct for you, you just use your energy to see what you're responding to and what you got clarity over for what's healthy for you or not. Now, this one here, this is the heart center. It has nothing to do with love, but it has to do with willfulness and proving and commitments and like the material world. So if you're in your not self here, then you're trying to prove yourself, prove that you can control things, prove that you can have material things, prove yourself, prove that you can hold on to things that are no longer good for you, or prove that you can do it by yourself, or prove that you have an identity, or prove that you know what to think about. So this one's a doozy. And when we're in this, like, I feel like I have to prove mode, remember, this isn't you. You have nothing to prove. This is just not self. All you have to do is use your energy. You have nothing to prove. You could find yourself staying extra long at work, even though nobody asked you. You could find yourself writing an extra long essay, even though they asked for half a page and you give a page. You know, you could possibly not understand your self-worth, even though you are completely awesome. But when people are out of sorts in this particular center, they feel like I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, I'm not enough. But you are deserving, you are worthy, and you are enough. It's just like that chemical imbalance of you just living a life that somebody else expects from you. So I am inviting you to start willfully committing to the things that you want to commit to, the things that are correct for you. And how do you know what's correct for you? Well, you interrupt the conditioning by waiting to respond and see what your energy says, or and then see if you have the clarity to be able to do it or not. So now let's talk about this G center. This G center, as you can see, there's absolutely no energy attached to it. And that's not a bad thing. I actually think this is one of the most beautiful things out there. Our moderator, Kitsune Ember, has this, and I'm going to use her as an example. Now, there's a few different things to say about this. And DM Docs, you have this compass. You only have this compass that when you go into a room and you're like, nope, you really need to know that that is not the proper place for you. This place here is giving you the understanding if it's correct for you. So if you walk into a place and you're like, nope, then you need to get the poop out of there. Maybe the bar across the street's going to be better for you. Maybe, I don't know. I have no clue, but whatever you just entered into, the person, place, thing, or experience is not correct for you. So whether it's a place you live, a place you work, a place you're going to go hang out with, it's not the proper opportunities for you. So I think that this completely open G center is a beautiful gift. I think it's amazing. But you also have this gift that a lot of people might shame you for. And there's no need to be shamed over the fact that you are here to experience many identities, directions, and love in life. And I'm not saying you're meant to have a lot of different partners. No, I'm saying that how do you experience love? Well, it's going to be different every day. How are you going to experience your identity? Well, it's going to be different every day. How are you going to experience direction in life? Well, it's going to be different every day. Who are you today? And see, people don't really you might feel uncomfortable with that fact, but you need to get cozy with the fact that you're just going to be a different person every day. Your role in life, you're just going to, who am I today? Really. So, the thing is that when it comes to the shame of this center, like the outside world shaming people for people who are naturally being themselves, I'm going to use Kitsy. Kitsy is a person who is like the master of like everything. Like she is the person of the props world. So she has done aesthetics, she has done photography, she has done like eyelashes, she's done crochet, she's done sewing, she's done metal work, she's done carpentry, she's done 3D printing. She's done everything. And within her artistry, she's chosen different mediums too. So she's like acrylic, water, pastel. So like she changes her everything. And the thing is that people, so for example, she went to vet college for a little bit. It wasn't right for her, but she did it anyways. So she stopped. So people were trying to shame her for that. And then, she started another course and, it wasn't right for her. So she stopped. And I'm so proud of her for allowing herself to have that experience and then pulling herself out of it, knowing that it wasn't correct for her. So people outside tried to shame her for having many experiences in life. But it's correct for her to have many experiences in life. You were meant to pick up things for one day and then put it down and then maybe in 9 months pick it up again. Then tomorrow you're supposed to pick up another thing, be interested in it for like 2 weeks maybe, put it down, and then off to your next thing. Don't ever let anybody make you feel ashamed for not sticking to one thing for a long time. Yeah, so make sure that you don't put yourself in a position of proving. I can prove that I can hold on to things for a long time, even though it's no longer healthy for me, just to prove to others that I can keep hold of something for a long time. Stop it. It's hurting yourself. Now let's go up into this brain here. This is your head center. So this is wide open again. So you might have the full expression of this center of I don't know what to think about, or I know exactly what to think about. I know what is inspirational, or I don't know what is inspirational. But this is where you might find yourself accumulating everybody's work at work. Oh, well, if Dox doesn't know the answer, he's sure going to find the answer. So don't let people take advantage of that, because your energy down here has the tendency to want to prove that you can support things that are unhealthy, and you're going to try to answer everybody's questions. It could be simple questions. Maybe you're on your phone in a group of friends and somebody in the group of friends sees that you're on your phone, and even though you were busy on your phone checking work something, they said, hey, check the weather for me. So you stop your work thing and you check the weather for them. Stop doing that. They can pull out their own phone and check the weather, or look somewhere closely and ask somebody else. You were working and it derailed you, and now you got to stop your stuff to answer their question that didn't matter anything to you, and then continue your work again. So My particular example, I have two examples for this. My son asks me, "What time is it?" I never answer that fucking question. How about you get up out of your seat and go check the time? That's why there's a clock on the wall. I know that you can see my time right here on my computer, and all I have to do is Alt Tab. But if I stop to Alt Tab out of everything that you asked me about, son, my work is going to be very distracted. I love my son. But go figure the time out by yourself. You're 13. You have a phone. Go click your phone on for a sec. So here's another example. I'm at work and there was a new transition and nobody understood how to do their new job, but I did, and so did 3 other people. So we were assisting the transition. I was like, guys, you have 2 weeks to learn a new job. And I told them. And after 2 weeks, they were still like, Katie, I need your help. I'm like, I'm not giving you help. Learn your fucking job. My clients are suffering because you, after 5 years of working here, still don't know how to do your job. I'm not doing it for you. Sorry, not sorry. I helped you through the transition like a good coworker should, but I ain't doing your friggin' job. But you know, a person, if you might try to prove that you know, and you might try to prove that you're a healthy coworker, and you can identify with the fact that you know that, I don't know, whatever. It could go on forever. So you are a person who has this fixed way of conceptualizing things and a fixed way of structuring it to externalize it. And you're a person who does have this experience of knowing when enough's enough and this proper timing of externalizing your own energy. And you do have a fixed way of expressing your emotions. All right. Now let's move on to this profile. Like I said, this is your behavioral costume in life. Your behavioral costume. This is what you see yourself as in life. This is what people see you as on the stage of life. So once again, I told you, you may not resonate with this profile or the incarnation cross. And let me tell you why. It's because we've been raised to be something that we're not. And it takes a little bit for us to get back to who we are. And all it takes is moment by moment, answer by answer, response by response to get you back to who you truly are. For me, I really didn't resonate with my profile maybe up until a year and a half ago, 2 years. I don't know. I'm starting to lose track of that now. And it's because I was finally, after a long, long time, finally in my life that I wanted. So your profile, your behavioral costume is that you are a person who is here to be trial and error. And you are a person who is here to, oh my God, I can't even. You're a person that is here to be seen and to condition people. So, okay. Let me talk about this profile. This is actually, in my opinion, a tough profile to have. Because you are a person who is meant to bump into things in life. And that's great. Without you, life wouldn't be structured. The Leaning Tower of Pisa would have fallen over by now. The Eiffel Tower wouldn't stand up straight. The pyramids would have crumbled years ago. So without having this trial and error aspect, without having that like bumping into things, without structuring it, our life wouldn't have this foundation that has been trialed and errored and like broken and fixed and put back together. So you have this really like beautiful aura that can take some trial and error in life, and I think it's beautiful. Without you, there is no everybody else. There is no structure in life. There is no foundations that have been proven, that are held together. So what's wrong about society is that society thinks that bumping into things is bad, but it isn't. So people throughout your life would have been, dmdox, what's wrong with you? Why did you break that thing again? It's a shame that people would be yelling at you for that. But what they should be saying is, docs, oh my gosh, you figured out what was wrong with it. How can we fix it? Good job. Good work. So, this trial and error can be seen by society as like, oh, why do you keep on failing? It's not that at all. You are meant to bump into things. You are meant to restructure. You're meant to break things. You're meant to put it back together to see if it holds, So the reason why, so that's part one. But so it's kind of like a little bit difficult, and I resonate with that because half of my life I have that experience too. But I don't have the resiliency of you. That's the word I was looking for. So your profile, you are here to be seen. And I'm going to exaggerate this experience. You're here to be seen. So let's just say you're right out of the birth canal. You're born. You're like the Buddha. You're the next God. You are the person who's supposed to lead us to the promised land. That's what your energy is looking at. That's what people look at you like. You are the next God. And as soon as you cry, or as soon as you poop, or as soon as you burp, or you throw up, people are like, oh, you're not the God I expected you to be. You cry. You shit yourself. But I mean, as a baby, babies are meant to cry. That's how they tell their outer world, that they need something. Babies and humans are meant to poop. That's what they do. And if a parent doesn't expect to look after that, what were you expecting as a parent? So, that's what the profile behavior is like for this. Is like you have such expectations on you that like even just being you, people are going to harp on it. People are going to see you and people are going to have something to say. You're not our leader. You're not the God. You're not the Buddha we expected. Me, 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 me. But the thing is, people will never know the true you. So you are a person who is meant to be bumping into life, and people are going to see you do that. That's why I said this could be a little bit of a hard profile. So dogs, you just need to keep on being you and allow yourself to bump into life and allow people to see you do it. Because that's how you're going to be your inspirational self. Really. So, once again, you may not resonate with your profile or your incarnation cross, but I wanted to talk about it. Now, I want to go down a little bit of this. We're not going to be going through any or a lot of it. I wonder if you have experiences just to have the sake of experiences, just to start and finish an experience. Really, that's just a question from me to you. Now, one of the things that I do notice is that you have a lot of collective energy and you have a lot of individual energy. There's no tribal energy. I wonder if like little groups like family or like social groups like church or I don't know, cards or something like that. I wonder if you may feel like it's hard for you to get into that, but it's easier for you to be in like the crowd or for you to be by yourself. I don't know. That's just another question. Okay, so you're a person who, okay, let's talk about your shining light into the world. This is 70% of who you are. So your brain is going to over-identify with this fourness of who you are. So this fourness of who you are, it sits in your brain. So this is irresponsibility, the general refusal to apply oneself diligently when one can get by with much less effort. I mean, it says that right in its sentence. It seems like you put a lot of effort into what you do when you can put in a lot less effort. And with your open centers of trying to prove that you can go harder, better, faster, stronger, oof. Imagine how those could be opposing. Where art is more valued than the artist, the potential to enjoy the formulas with no regard to their practical application. So that is like 70% of who you are in the world, but there's another 70% of who you are. And this is the 23ness, assimilation, the practical acceptance of the values of another path. So the 23 sits in the throat. Oh, I love this, and I'm totally going to call you this. When a person has this fully here, this is the channel of structuring, a design of individuality. Now, if we were to look at all of the gurus in life, like the mega gurus in life, like the Dalai Lama and all of those other people, 90% of these gurus and leaders have this. Let me tell you why. It's because this is the channel of the freak. And people recognize you as a freak until they recognize your genius. So, hello, friendly freak. How you doing? I have a lot of that freak energy inside of me. People are just walking around like, yo, what the hell is this human design shit? And then one day people are going to recognize my genius, and eventually, you know, etc. So yeah, how you doing, my freak? How's your genius going? But yeah, you're a person who is meant to structure things. Expansion and contribution through assimilation, the gift of communicating individual insight to the collective. So you have this individual insight that is able to be shared with the collective, the whole, because unique insights start with the individual, and then it has to be accepted by the tribe, and then it has to be accepted by the collective. But apparently you can just skip the tribe. Apparently, like we started to say, you don't have much tribal energy. So the fact that your 70%ness being shined into the world has nothing to do with the tribe, but it has to do with the collective. Oh, everything just works so beautifully. I love it. 1 year, 25 days. Nice. So I do want to say that we talk about like your environment that you need to be successful, the people that you need to be around in order to be successful. We could talk about the era in which you're born and like, yeah, like the sassiness that you're going to have. We could talk about your values, what you're here to communicate, what you think about spiritually, what you think, what you feel grounded in, what, you know, we could talk about so many different things. And guys, remember, this was just a basic overview. This isn't even a foundational reading. So docs, that is your experience. I want to go over one more time that you are a person who is here to respond and wait to respond. You are not a spontaneous person. You're here to get clarity on the things that you respond to in life.